Good evening, everybody, and welcome to the Block 9 Podcast Live Lounge. Evening, folks, and welcome to, yes, that's it, the Block 9 Podcast, that side, and all things Argyle. So I just realised my ticker on the bottom wasn't right on the intro again, but there you go. Attention to detail, Edwards, come on. So, well, no games on Tuesday again, so we've been able to chill out and relax. Obviously, Andy, Gav, we've had 2 wins on the bounce at home, 3 wins, including that cup game, the Virtue Cup game. And obviously, we've got the league game against Peterborough Saturday, and then the Tottenham Under-21s virtual next round on Tuesday. So it's going to be a busy few days for Argyle. Gavin, evening. How are we doing this week so far?
All good, thank you.
Excellent. And Andy, how have you been this week, mate?
Great, mate. Thank you. Yeah, a couple of trips away, but yeah, all good.
Yeah, good. You were up driving your son to pick up a new car this week.
I drove my son all the way up to Poole to get his new car and then drove all the way back again. That was fun. That was good. Nice car he's got.
Well, that's what dads have to do, you see, when they need to. And speaking of new cars, Gavin, you've also got your new one as well. So it seems like everybody's deciding to change their cars at the minute then. They must be. So how's your week been overall, Gavin?
Yeah, good. Busy. So trying to sort out loft collapses. But other than that, everything's tickety-boo. Nice to have no real sensational news coming out of Argyle, so you could actually breathe for 5 minutes. And nice to have a win at the weekend as well to supplement a bit of a good feel into the week, which is good.
Yeah, no, absolutely. It's been I've had the past sort of couple of days buried in a Power BI report build, and then when you sort of do all these calculations and things, and you realise the person who sent you the data, their data isn't quite right. But luckily enough, all you have to do is go, you need to go and do this and this to give me the right data. And then luckily it's just a case of refreshing the report. But yeah, there's nothing, I absolutely love Power BI. For anybody that doesn't know what it is, it's a data analyst tool for business intelligence. And I've always loved data, as I've said many times. And so I've missed actually doing a couple of reports, and this one's on a lot of compliance data from our system. And yeah, it's good to get back into it, I have to say, and refresh some rusty elements that I've found myself to have. In the comments we have joining us tonight, so evening folks, we got Marcus, Ninja Matt's in, Andy Prowse is in, and Spencer Argyle on tour. Evening to you all. I know that the Ocean City FM have got Simon Hallett on the airwaves, or Joe Bell has got him keeping him company tonight. So I'm sure a few people are there listening to that. But certainly those that have joined us, you might want to listen to that back on catch up. I'm sure they have that feature available. Anyway, welcome to the pod, folks. And so, yeah, in typical style, of course, it's a more relaxed affair, or certainly recently with these wins for us on the show. And obviously, yes, we've got our slide deck, of course. So you can see with the new slogan, loud and proud, all things Argyle. So just from a couple of points you can see on the screen from people, Marcus saying the only bad news is what's out for 4 months yet. We'll come to that. And Marcus also saying earlier, Hammond can't be dropped now. Who would have said that a few weeks ago? In response to Spencer or Argyle on Tour's view that Hammond, personally Hammond over, it's just jumped as someone else has added a comment, Hammond over Hazard for Saturday, but then pit him in the under-21s Tottenham match on Tuesday night. So yes, Marcus, Chris Errington couldn't make it tonight because he's gone to the theatre. But I do
washing his hair. Is that right?
Yeah, like you, Andy. Yeah. It's an important time and piece for you for doing that. But no, he's given us sent me the video of his thoughts on the presser, which we'll play in a second. So that's good. Ad Cole, we've just had a comment in from YouTube. Evening, the fact that Peterborough 24th might give the false impression that this is an easier fixture. Could that turn out to be a problem, i.e. going into it with the wrong mentality? Not if you take Cleverley's press conference notes today. So, right, let's crack on with the latest news. Well, there's not much happening at the moment, is there? So just a couple of tidbits for you on here. Obviously, we did announced the other day, as rumours started coming out about Daryl Flavhaven being interested in a move, or Sheffield Wednesday being interested in him. It looks like that's almost a done deal now, with Argyle or Tom Cleverley hinting that an announcement of his replacement will happen very soon, and so it's close. So that's good. We'll see who we get in there. I think Daryl Gavin has been pretty solid, hasn't he, in the time that he's been here?
Great. Yeah, really good. What was it? January 24? Did he come in with Foster, I think? When we had no staff at all. Writing the theme tune, singing the theme tune, making the tea, putting the cones out. I think he came in at that stage. He's done wonders. I think he's done probably palpably well with Conor Hazard in his distribution and being a bit more commanding his box. And even in the short time he's had with Ashby Delazou, she's done brilliantly. I think his confidence has come out. The way he's coming out for crosses now, his distribution's got better and better and better. So obviously very well respected within the community of goalkeeping coaches, all those nutters that fly themselves around 7 days a week. And wants to go back to Wednesday to be near his family. I hope he's taken out income protection insurance. That's all I'm going to say on that one, because it's if he gets his salary every month, I think he's won the lottery. But near his family, which I completely get, and I think he'll be missed. Flav seems to be a very popular member of the coaching staff, so wish him all the best.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Marcus saying maybe he doesn't want to get paid at Sheffield Wednesday. Spencer asking if there's any rumours on who the coach might be. Not seen anything of note. I don't know, Andy, if there's anything being touted on Pizzotti about a potential replacement.
I've not seen anything on Pizzotti. I've not been on there for a little while, to be fair. Monday to post earlier on, but yeah.
Yeah, no, fair enough. Also, obviously, the other news as well that came out, I think that was earlier on today, misconduct charge for Cleverley, and I have put the little clips from the FA in there. So, discipline. So, Plymouth Argyle manager Thomas Cleverley has been charged with misconduct following their EFL League One game against Luton Town on Saturday the 13th. It is alleged that Mr. Cleverley acted in an improper manner by repeatedly disagreeing with decisions. Managers doing that, really? And or dissent, and or using insulting and or abusive words. Which is it going to be? Is it and or? Is it all of them? Is it none of the above? Leading to his dismissal. I think we did sort of discuss it on Saturday's post-match. He looked quite shocked and surprised when he got that straight red after getting an earlier yellow in the game. The regulation and discipline further went on to say it's further alleged that following his dismissal, he used abusive and or insulting words towards a match official around the 72nd minute. Thomas Cleverley has until Monday, the 22nd of September, to provide a response. Yeah, that's a little bit, I don't know, heat of the moment stuff, everything else, frustrations. Yeah, it's just football, isn't it, Gav? That, I mean, you're not one to lose your rag or anything like that at a game, are you?
I was hoping he'd come and sit next to me in the grandstand this week, and then at least when we both lose it, the upper echelons of the stewarding team won't come and tap me on the shoulder and ask me to refrain from being so passionate. No, there's nothing wrong with that. With that, until you get booked. So I because the gantry at Luton seems to be right above the dugout. You could hear and feel the anger coming off him for the first booking. He turned into vintage Roy Keane. I think I said that on Saturday night. He absolutely let go. Rightly so, in my opinion. But you've got to kind of guide your team and stay on the field really as best you can. And also, it does then challenge when you get the gaffer going there. Just 10 minutes after training, have a little bit of a chat, and he's like, "Oh yeah, what's up, Governor? Yeah, you're losing your rag, and you're disciplined." Stop there, boss. You can't say anything to me. You've had 3 yellow cards and a red card in 8 games. Soz about that. So I think that it loses a little bit of that. And I thought Errington made a great point in the press conference earlier, saying you're normally so cool, calm, and collected when you talk to us in the real pressure moments. how come you've now sort of flicked into this monster when you cross the whitewash? He's put it down to being a young manager and passionate. I don't have any problems with that. I think if it carries on in this vein, I think probably he'll have dinner with Simon and he'll say, cool it. But he probably just needs to read back the conversation he had with Bradley Everham about his conduct and just say it to himself in the mirror, maybe. But look, he's a great coach, isn't he? And he's doing wonders. We haven't had the rub of the green in any of the games we've seen. Both penalties on Saturday were dubious. I don't think the red was a red. I stated that on Saturday night quite ferociously. It's nice to see that watching some Luton podcasts back that I was supported in some of those decisions. So Carl, who's not here, he's serving our NHS well. God bless him. This evening, who didn't agree with me. It's nice to see that the rival fans think that we probably didn't deserve 2 penalties or a sending off either.
Well, I was sort of with you on that first one, but it would be a boring pod if we all agreed with each other. That's for sure.
He's done magically well. He's a very passionate man, and don't forget he was brought up in his football in a team with
captained by Roy Keane.
Well, Roy Keane, Rio Ferdinand, all these shy people that go, excuse me, ref, I think you might want to have a look at that one again because I think I've been hard done by. A club that I think, was it 2 seasons they didn't concede a penalty at home, and the one they did, they nearly chinned the ref between them. There's about 9 around him. So if you think that's the environment he's been brought up in, he is a winner. It is hardly a surprise that he flicks back to sort of reset mode when he loses it and then sees the red mist. So look, I can't see it being a problem. I'd sooner have that than someone sitting there stony silenced, not like he's giving a monkeys, and letting everything wash by.
Yeah, I mean, Andy, the other thing for me on it is with the sort of the performance increases and improvements, I should say, recently, Stockport County, we obviously had to dig deep sort of to get through that because it wasn't the cleanest of games, but you could see that they've all been working harder, as Sorinola alluded to. We've got some of his quote highlights, gelling a bit better now. I think the frustration comes out more when your squad are playing so well and trying to, coming back after taking the lead, conceding a penalty, and then again straight after the half, after going 2-1 up, then conceding again, and you just, I think you get more frustrated then with the decisions, whereas in earlier games when we haven't had the decisions, part of him is like, well, we don't deserve to get anything from the game anyway. So it feels like the sort of the real drive and energy and like the passion of like, we are playing well now, we can win these games, and the fact that they could just slip out of their hand, in that Luton game, we could have gone away with just a point. You can see why emotions then get more charged.
Yeah, I mean, they're playing for each other now, aren't they? They're all sort of determined to win the game, and they want to do it in style, and they want to do it together as a unit, as a team, not just as individuals. We said that on Saturday, didn't we? That they're starting to gel more as a team, and it's more effective as team play rather than just losing the ball, trying to get it back again. It's like, it's encouraging because I like the desire they've got. I love the desire that they have together, and I think that's being sort of portrayed from the touchline by Cleverley, who was a very naughty boy at the weekend. But I'd rather have that, as Gab said, I'd rather have that passion than have someone like Foster on the touchline putting his hands in his pockets.
Yeah, and I hope that you don't. I hope because you just feel that there's too many meetings going on in the FA about, we got to make sure we clamp down on this and clamp down on that. Let the game be the game. I'm not saying someone can just stand there and verbally abuse, but if you turn around going Lino, I wasn't doing anything. I mean, half the players on the pitch, abuse the officials, quite badly, and you just think you're going to get that because emotions are running high. Don't ruin the game. Yeah, if he constantly keeps doing it, then fair enough. Going Going back to the comments, Dave Mortimer's in tonight, evening Dave. Still no Keith, but Bradders, James and Neil are all positive now. I have been seeing his odd little tweets here and there. Dave's in not Bradders or anybody. I don't go on X as much as I used to at the moment, just don't have time. But it is a bit of egg on your face right now, isn't it? Marcus say, how dare TC question the refereeing decisions? Benny Van, life evening, Benny. It's further alleged Thomas Cleverley explained to the fourth official that he was an clueless. You'll have to read that one, folks, if you're watching. If you're listening on the podcast later, well, sorry, I have to keep it clean. And Nicholas G, evening, Nicholas. 2 games now, we can max points. We are in good form now. So there is that point, but we should never underestimate the Posh. Also, just coming on to an article that Chris Errington had done for the Plymouth Live, Simon Hallett's key concerns and confidence. Go and have a look at that article, check that out in full, but effectively some snippets from that. So injury management. Hallett's biggest worry is the high number of soft tissue injuries. Cornell Suits was a soft tissue on his MCL. Training methods and prevention strategies will be reviewed to reduce future occurrences. It is a massive concern, that, because I don't know if Watts's was more to do with the situation and the challenge he found himself in with the tear on his hamstring, but it certainly is concerning how many injuries we have had so early on in the season. Recruitment and development, he said summer recruitment is under review. Cleverley also alluded to that after the Stockport game in the end of the window. The following week they were going to get straight to it. He said, with an emphasis on player development, fans are urged to be patient with young talents like Bradley Ibrahim's recent forms. Bradders and a couple of others, you just need to be more patient, obviously. Backing Cleverley, he said, Hallett praises Tom Cleverley's intelligence, work ethic and commitment. Defending his touchline passion, he's confident that Cleverley is in it for the journey, and Cleverley has stressed that as well in recent interviews, even more so. And on coaching and operations, the club boasts a strong coaching team with high morale. David Fox is applauded for his calm and diligent approach to the football operations. And his big quote from that interview, he also claimed or said that he still believes that Argyle can make the League One playoff places, and that's definitely still achievable. I was speaking to a colleague in work today, who's also a mate, and he said, have you heard that he reckons we'll get in the playoffs? And I said, well, if we can turn that form around that we're seeing and just keep building and building, and this team just improves, I mean, Gavin, is there any reason why that wouldn't be an opportunity?
It's a very long season. Yeah. And I would much rather start slowly and finish strongly, because if you're then getting into the playoffs, even if we just nab 6th and we've gone on a run of 8, 9, 10, 11 unbeaten games, taking momentum into the playoffs, as we all know, is one of the key factors to get into Wembley and then winning promotion. So is it out of the question at this stage? No, not at all. Has there been a number of bedwetters saying we're going down and all the other bits and bobs that go with it? Yeah. Is there still a bit of hangover of that in terms of people's negative views? Possibly. But I think my big worry is the number of people on the sideline of quality. Still, I think we're going to get 3 or 4 back instantly. But there's still some real rock stars, aren't there, sitting in the recovery aisle of Nuffield. Surgery. Pleggy, Amici being even Pleggy, being probably and Watts now being the 3 major sort of talisman and key players. If they were fit, they'd all probably be starting. So challenging. I still think we're 1 or 2 short with those injuries as we are, and a dip into the free player market might still be on the cards. I'm not sure. I know they've been talking to some people. Who knows on that one? But yeah, there's absolutely no reason why we can't get top 6 if we continue. A, the home form has to be bang on the money. B, to get an away win 4 away games into a season is so dizzy heights. I think you need an oxygen mask and a Sherpa from last year and the year before, and the year before's kind of form. So look, the signs are there. They've got a squad that's gelling, missing a bit of experience, but Joe only having a suspension and Patterson being back soon, Hazard back this weekend. Some of those key players are coming back, so no reason why not at all.
No, I think Andy sort of, when we were prepping the deck and Gav was doing his lineup, he said, God, when he was doing it, it was like it just reminded him of how short and lacking depth we have at the moment because of those injuries. And of course, we miss seeing Pleggy as big fans, or maybe it's just me. No, it's not just me.
We do miss you, Pleggy.
Yeah, so if you are watching and checking in tonight, Pleggy, or later, we hope you're doing well. But yeah, I think Andy, the biggest one for me that we've got to deal with is what is causing these injuries, as obviously it was noted in that point there from Hallett in the interview. I know when they bought all the goals area and the pitches around it, the old pitch, when it was changed in the summer, I think was lifted and moved up there. Am I correct in saying that? They reused...
The pitch was moved from home park to the training ground,
yeah. So, but you sort of wonder then, obviously the foundations you assume are okay, and it's not the pitch so much. So I can't think myself. It'd be interesting to sort of understand that at some stage. But what is causing the squad to pick up so many major injuries, not even niggles, but in amongst it, because we can't afford to lose any more, can we?
No, that's right. I mean, they got to work them hard, yeah. And our friend Marcus has made comments in our WhatsApp about Elliot Turner, and I think we haven't had a clean sort of bill of health since Turner's left. There's been players injured for whatever reason. We can't put a finger on that.
Interesting point.
Maybe they're working them too hard. Especially people with sort of ligament damage and stuff and hamstring damage. You're working them too hard, it's going to recur again, isn't it? So, I don't know. I don't know what the answer is to that, Mike. I think Turner was good when he was down here, and certainly this year we didn't have that sort of pressure of like extra casualties throughout the season, did we?
No, I think there's an element of it, the sports sort of therapy, all the sort of treating the players after games. Do we have the same level of staff that were doing that, the same quality of people doing that to sort of make sure the muscles are recovered? And Andy will be a better one, as in Andy Prowse, with his diploma he's working on in his sports massage therapy. But it's all that sort of thing. I remember going back, this is like last time we were in the Championship, actually, a rep of mine who worked for Cadbury's, his brother was a sports massage therapist, and he said he had done a couple of stints actually in Birmingham, in Birmingham's city, and he said they're all using these modern day, even then, like tools where they're pitting devices onto areas of the body of the player and letting the machine do its work. But he said there's no feel then in that. You're not seeing where that knot is or where that tight bit is. The machine just left to do its thing, and he said they were suffering a lot of injuries as a result of that so that's why they called him in, and I think maybe a couple of others to do it the old-fashioned way. Let's just say hands-on.
I think Elliot Turner was like that, wasn't he? Elliot Turner was hands-on, which is why we didn't have so many injuries. I think Niall Ennis was probably one of the people that got injured the most that season. He was in and out of the side, but very little else going else.
Caveat that though, Watts' injury was no one to blame apart from the guy who literally did a top rope WWE type slam onto him when his leg was already outstretched. So his ankle's locked in and his leg's gone down straight, and that's what's caused hamstring.
I think his is more in the moment.
To do with, and it sounds like Such last week in training had a really awkward fall.
Yeah,
you'd say those two are luck. I don't know what happened with their Michi because that was another training exercise as well. But sometimes it's just bad luck. Maybe you get a priest in to do a little bit of the old holy water round.
I mean, that's what happened to Cooper, wasn't it? Cooper at Sheffield Wednesday. That was exactly that, wasn't it? When he went up for the ball, he landed awkwardly, didn't he? He was out for ages.
Yeah,
but again, that's all down to your warm up and your conditioning of your joints and ligaments. But in the end, when they're going to go, they're going to go.
Awkward fall, especially with body weight on you, it's an awkward fall. That you can't start pinning that on the training or conditioning because that could happen to any player at any time.
Yeah,
it's just one of those. But yeah, I think maybe the Peveril Priest needs to come up with a bit of holy water and bring that on the pitch and get rid of the demons, boys. Maybe that's what it is, and shift the curse.
Yeah, well, maybe he drinks in the Hyde Park social, Andy, and you can.
You can tap him up at the weekend. I bet he's having a slice scotch in the corner or something.
So, Ninja Matt in the comments in relation to the point that Simon Hallett made about feeling that we are definitely still playoffs is still achievable this season. Ninja Matt saying, "You mean we're not going to get relegated? Everyone was so sure 3 weeks ago on X." It's been pretty quiet lately too. So yeah, it has. I mean, of course, when there's negativity in the air and everybody wants to, voice their opinion, then obviously even the show gets bigger with that. But yeah, it's definitely a very calm sea at the moment, isn't it? Barry saying we picked up quite a few injuries early on when Rooney was in charge, and this is the whole thing. As Andy's pointing out, since Elliot Turner left, is there a coincidence there? And it can be like that. So yeah, check out that article. It's on Plymouth Live. And as I said earlier, when Marcus asked the question, we are looking, or we'll get Chris Errington on soon. He's at the theatre tonight, so couldn't make it in the end. But next week we should get him on. But I do have, and what I'll do is I'll play it before we go next, before we read out the key points. So.
Well, the main piece of Plymouth Argyle injury news going into the game against Peterborough United here at Home Park on Saturday concerns Caleb Watts. He was substituted in the opening minutes of the victory over Luton Town last Saturday, and unfortunately he faces hamstring surgery, which is going to keep him out for around 4 months. Very similar injury to the one that Xavier Amici suffered earlier in the season. A little bit better news about Cornell Such. He faces 4 weeks out with a strain of his MCL in a knee. Argyle feared it could have been an ACL, which would have been a very long-term injury. So that's a little bit of positive news about Cornell Such. And definitely positive news about the trio of Connor Hazard, Jack McKenzie and Jamie Patterson. Connor Hazard is going to be back in the squad on Saturday, almost certainly on the bench, after not playing at all this season because of a knee ligament injury. Jack McKenzie likely to play against Tottenham Hotspur under-21s in the Virtue Trophy next Tuesday. And while that might come a little bit too soon for Jamie Patterson, Tom Cleverley's told us today that he is on the verge of returning.
Yeah, so some good news there on Patterson and McKenzie and Hazard. As we know, it'll be good to get some players back in as a couple go out. I was just reading the comments while that was playing, and let me go back to it. Ad Cole said, "Do you think the loss of Caleb Watts for the foreseeable future will have a significant impact?" I think he's been alongside Boateng and Sorinola, one of the most consistent players that's done really well this season. I think he had one bad game in amongst that, but. Yeah, I mean, it's definitely going to be a loss, but it allows, like Dale to come in to the fray. That's why we signed him and why we brought him down on loan to try and then, sort of step up and bring that quality and experience. So it's a shame because Watts is an exciting player and he wears his heart on his sleeve. Obviously, yes, our Exeter fans did warn us that he is injury prone, but I think, like Gavin said, you can't factor in when you land awkwardly, with another player on you, that you're going to get some damage in some of those. So, yeah, we shall see on that. But yeah, I think the other highlights, as we just alluded to really from Chris's video, is that we've got a few players coming back that will hopefully then make up for some of the absentees. In terms of the press conference from Tom Cleverley's point of view, so basically on the Luton match, he said it was a massive show of character from our players. 2 games in a row, big character checks, back to back. Nothing changes now. We keep our foot on the accelerator. Maybe listen to the pod on Saturday when I did my 20-minute intro about changing gears and 180s and stuff. But no long one this time. Sorry about that. That was a long one. He said, on Peterborough, if you watch their performance against Wickham, they definitely aren't a bottom side. I think they're in a false position and there will be absolutely no talk of us facing the bottom side. Bad news in terms of just confirming Caleb Watts, I'm afraid. It's a hamstring surgery, so it will be around 4 months. We'll review what we can do to make sure this doesn't happen again. But then if it was partly involved in that foul, I don't think you can do much about that. And on further team news, as we've just said, Jack McKenzie, Connor Hazard, Jamie Patterson are all on the verge of returning, and Connor Hazard should be in the squad, likely on the bench, of course, on Saturday. So So that was Tom Cleverley's points, and then Matty Sorinola was the player being interviewed in the press of the day. On scoring at Luton, Matty said his diving header goal against Luton, crediting Talai's excellent cross and praising his teammates' ability. The impact of the fans during the game on him, he said it's a motivating effect when they sing his name, noting their crucial support during challenging matches as seen on Saturday. Team chemistry and goals, he's observed the squad gelling, alluded to that earlier, acknowledging it takes time for new players to settle, but noting improved performances. The aim remains, as Simon Hallett has said, a top 6 finish for promotion. And feeling at home. I thought this was an interesting one when I read it earlier. Sorinola expressed how comfortable he feels at the club, describing Plymouth as a peaceful change from London, contributing to his sense of belonging. Obviously, there's been lots of talk, Gavin, hasn't there, and Andy, on the whole of why we're not getting players, and I know there were some murmurings about Mumba, sort of end of season wanting to, suggesting that the nightlife down here isn't great. Probably was 20 years ago, but yeah, not as good as it used to be then. But it's great to hear Sorinola talk like that, and he feels nice and relaxed, and he seems to be enjoying himself, and you can see that because he's smiling all the time on the pitch, Gav, isn't he? So I just love watching him play at the minute.
He's playing with freedom. I think that's the most important thing. He knows the game plan well. I think he was very honest when he said that he's more suited to being a wing back than he is a full back. I think that's evident. Getting at the back post and scoring a diving header on Saturday, you can't be any more forward than that from left back. He's done well from that respect. I think the system suits him better. I think the system probably suits the back 5 better, and it's given that midfield a bit of comfort. From his perspective down here, I think he alluded to there's like 6 London lads that are all out of trouble and probably going to be taking things a little bit easier than they would be if they could get into the West End, where they probably wouldn't be recognised so much being a footballer of that ilk. And I think 3 of them played at Fulham together, Lucas and Amici and himself. So, got some lads that he's known as a kid. Clearly well settled. It was 18 months, I think he's been in the club now. Playing well, scoring goals, crossing well. What's not on a good wage, I would imagine. Probably, it's going to be north of 300,000-400,000 quid a year in Plymouth is not bad for your tea. Certainly put you in a few pints pasties. And would easily pay for your toll to go over the bridge, despite how expensive that is now. So what's not to be happy and settled about, really? I think if you're happy at work, then you're happy at home, and vice versa. So he seems to be doing everything that you want to be doing.
Just Voodoo's comment, just called Evening Voodoo. The nightlife is quieter. In many cases, that's what their missus insists on, Gav. Evening Voodoo. Evening Ben, who's just dropped in as well. I don't know if everybody's starting to come in at the end of that Hallett interview, but if you did, let us know if there was any tidbits from that to discuss. Andy, I think it's you can see when players like even Wire after that early issue with the own goal. We said this on Saturday. He seems to be playing really well, and actually, in fairness to Sorinola, yes, he doesn't prefer being a fullback, but when he needs to defend as well, the lad has an engine on him, man, because he can get back, and clear, tackle players in the box. He's just here, there, he's everywhere. He was
causing some mileage on that pitch on Saturday. He covered some right mileage there, and he was talking about his data, and his data was quite high on that, and he's fascinated by it all. So yeah, he's one of those players who's going to give 100% for us. Even at the end with the cramp, he's going down with cramp, he's getting up again and going again. True, yeah. His engine's like, I wish I had an engine in my car like that. You know what I mean? The guys are doing well together. I mean, you can see it when we got the last goal. They all went towards the Luton fans, and there was that togetherness, wasn't there? You see the smiles on the faces. The joy that goals brought to them.
Yeah, no, exactly. I'm just going to go back on some of the comments where we got here. Nikki, evening Nikki, who joined us earlier. Don't jinx it, Crazy Pilgrim. No more calm sea, etc. Oh, nah, sod it. I'm going all out now. We are absolutely going to smash it. You've heard it here live. You can then hit me hard later if that is the case. Although saying that, after the interesting shenanigans at the end of the pod on Saturday, there was a few interesting bets and suggestions in the lobby after we signed off. And actually, I don't know where that image is. I do know where it is.
It was all done in the best possible
absolutely
taste.
correct.
Well,
Correct. So I'll dig that out maybe at the end. Graham Byrne, evening, mate. Good to see you in. Argo on tour, no to lie. I think he's questioning something that he must have put in the comment earlier. Marcus Coops was deliberately taken out at Sheffield Wednesday. Even Coops himself said he knew what the player said to him when he was on the floor. I didn't know that, so that's interesting. Andy B, good evening, Andy. For Saturday, Benarous replacing the skipper, swapping sides with Matty, Dale starting in place of Watts, the rest as is. We'll see what Gavin's put in his lineup in a second, but wouldn't totally...
Has he got a bug on my computer? Has he got a spike out on my computer?
He's hacked into our presentation. Just Jana, good to see you in, mate. It was like a proud parent moment watching Matty Sorinola score in front of us. Obviously, he was there at the game. How much he does and finally scores, for how much he does and finally scores, he deserves it. Absolutely. Stephen Cooper, still got these polos here if you want them, Steve. I know we're coming into the colder months now, but my blood, sweat and tears went into putting that logo on there. So give us a shout. Marcus, Stephen did say, evening guys, why don't we get right back? He's our sod Wigan. He's our, I think, means player Wigan. That's on loan to Wigan. I don't think you can recall a player, can you, on loan like that? Isn't there a...
Not till January, apparently.
Unless you're back in
Yeah.
January. That's even
Correct. That deal was
clause.
clearly done on a bit like, I forgot his name now, who went abroad on a 3-year loan, but I think that deal was done. Yeah, thank you, mate. Yeah, that deal was done. We've read that one out. What we got? Let's have a look. Cooper saying, why can't we get him back? Swansea did with Whittaker. Yeah, it's different. With Sorinola's engine, you are losing something just being used as a fullback. And Nicky saying, I'll hold you to that. Yeah, the comment I made just now. So Whittaker went back to Swansea in January. It wasn't the same transfer window as we were just alluding to. Matty is so shy, he's adorable, Voodoo said. So I haven't seen the actual live press conference or the recording even, but obviously you two have, so that's always good. Let me just go back to the deck. And then, on Cleverley's comments, by the way, just to highlight the point of someone saying that earlier on in the show, yeah, he's clearly absolutely making it clear to the players and the coaching staff that they know that anyway, but just because they're bottom doesn't mean anything really. They have had a poor start, got some stats on that. And a second, speaking of which... here we go. So the Peterborough preview. So we're starting up first with Gavin's predicted lineup. So take it away, Gav.
So who was it? Andy. Who was it?
Andy B. Was it?
Andy B. Andy B's been stealing into my ideas, or we are the great thinker like, or he's got a spy cam on my computer. Obviously, 2 enforced changes. Yeah, so one at right wing back because Joe Edwards is suspended. The other at right attacking midfielder or whatever you want to call it, as Caleb Watts is out for 4 months. Left Lucas Ashby de la Zouche in goal because I think he deserves it. I thought he had a very good game again on Saturday. Vital saves. One down low off the header late doors was exceptional. His distribution on a very tight pitch. Kenilworth Road was very good too, and he commanded his box pretty well. I didn't get everyone saying he was flapping at crosses. He was just getting a fist to it and getting it away.
Yeah, and the odd flick on as well. So he did some.
Yeah, exactly. So just carrying it on. Absolutely no reason to drop him at the moment. Connor's probably not quite match sharp anyway and could do with a game on Tuesday, so he retains his place. Same back three. Wiradoo on the left, Mitchell in the centre, and Matthias Ross on the right. Matthias Ross is fastly becoming my new favourite player. He has got a lot of Maxi Tel Aviv in him, but I think he's got a slightly better temperament and is slightly classier and has played a high level of football from what I can see. And he's Getting to Know You with Charlie Price on Argo TV. If you haven't seen it, it's very good too. So saying back three, I thought they were. Your thing you clipped up, which is the first time you've ever done that. It shocked me in the week. Something like 3 pods of granite or something. Whatever I was ranting on about Saturday night, but they had a very good game. So absolutely no reason I think to change that back three. Caveated by Galloway came on and was outstanding, by the way.
Yeah, he was.
So you 3 or 4 there. If he drops Wiridou and brings Galloway in, I also wouldn't be upset. So we are where we are on that one. I think the left-sided 3 at the back position is flip a coin. Can't drop that midfield. Boateng and Ibrahim have both been outstanding, so they are obviously cemented in at the moment, and they'll be there until someone else takes a shirt. Go on, what are you going to say? Something?
The danger, actually going back to the squad depth issue, we've still got that sort of marker hanging over Ibrahim, haven't he? Where one more yellow away from a suspension. So
yeah, but you've obviously got depth on the bench there with McCabe, and not in my squad anyway. Is Caleb Roberts, so who's also very capable at this level. So there's no problem with midfield, but those two are outstanding at the moment, and I don't think any Argyle fan would be looking to drop either Boateng or Eamon Benarous comes from the cold, was sitting in the stands on Saturday and not getting in the squad altogether, straight into the left wing back position, which means Matty Sorinola swaps to the right. Where I think he's a bit more comfortable, but it doesn't matter. Benarous has had, I think, 2 or 3 really good games at left back. He's probably more suited to a left wing back position because he likes getting forward. So that completes the 4 in midfield. And then the 3 up top pretty much pick themselves. Owen Dale, I thought, had a very good game, even though he didn't do anything outstanding individually. I thought he played that right side really well. He supported the wing backs really well in Matty Sorinola late doors and got himself to his defensive duties pretty well and won some very wise old free kicks up top to relieve pressure. So him and Mumba take the 2-10 slots, and then obviously Lauren Talai picks himself in the 9 channel. And then of course we've got the bench. So Connor Hazard as the replacement goalkeeper. Brendan Galloway, for obvious reasons, sits there as well as the back 3 replacement, and then it's a plethora of midfielders and attackers really.
Oh, so, did we not loan Joe Hatch out, or have I missed that one?
Oh, no,
yeah, Hatch is at Taunton, isn't he?
That's it. Yeah, I
thought that. Yeah, there's Roberts there as well.
I'm not updating my lineup 11 when I did this, so that makes it very easy. So it's Connor Hazard, Brendan Galloway, Caleb Roberts, Lorne McCabe, which obviously are 2 midfield options, Owen Asani, Tegan Finn, and Ben Peppel.
Yeah, because Roberts didn't go out on loan, I don't believe, did he?
No. And then I've just added these in because it just shows the lack of depth, but coming close to return. Jack McKenzie, I think, will start next Tuesday by the sounds of it. Joe Edwards has got a 3-game suspension. That's 3 league game suspension, isn't it? So he'll play the cup game, I think, to keep himself in nick, and Jamie Patterson looks like he'll be considered for Saturday week from what we've read and seen. So that makes it up. We've gone 3-4-2 as we have the last three games. And Peterborough play a 5-3-2, and I haven't done much research, but I imagine that 5 turns into a 3-5-2 when they have possession.
Yeah, no, we look at one of the things for me with some of the recent signings is, I hope where it's happened in the past and it doesn't happen too much now, the likes of Roberts and even Tegan Finn, they don't sort of fall by the wayside again. I think with them not going out on loan, I think Tegan Finn has shown a lot, and evening Sam as well if you're watching tonight. So yeah, don't want to sort of see that mix up, but also I'm excited to see Lorne McCabe if he gets some minutes on Saturday as well. Obviously he came on late in the game, but had about 3 touches or whatever it was because of the way that they were coming at us. So yeah, there's still some exciting players in there, but yeah, I think with my point on Ibrahim is he's in such a good place right now, and you know that yellow is going to be inevitable at some stage, but you don't want any, like, as a player. I mean, I suppose, Andy, you don't want to lose out on a game because of your own sort of ill discipline. But I don't. Yeah, looking at that lineup, is there anything you would change there, Andy?
Probably not, actually. That's pretty much good for me, Gav. McCabe might be a difference to Belarus, but I think you've got to start with Belarus and bring McCabe on. Galloway could easily slot in there if one of the back three pick up a knock or anything. So yeah, it's comfortable there. And certainly Finn could play on the other side if where Sorinola is at the minute. So if he has to come off as well. So yeah, it's quite strong. It's a strong team. It's quite a strong bench for a change as well, isn't it?
Yeah, and just going to the comments, where is it to? I did see, Marcus saying Ross is good, but even the lack of game time he's had hasn't even picked yet. What a sign in! He did look great on Saturday, and he's got height. He was a threat in the box as well from the set pieces, which is good. And he's just calm and composed, isn't he? He is a bit like that Katic-esque, where Talavirov was more in your face, and Katic was just solid and did his job very well, and Ross looks exactly like that. So I'll be excited to see more of him. Just a Jana on the point of Peterborough and not taking them lightly. They've got nothing to lose, but a lot to gain. With how tedious and long their travel down will be. It won't be easy. But Voodoo saying the money is on goals, the smart money's on goals, and also saying that Clever McAntony say Posh are in a false position. I agree, but they will attack. It's interesting because the stats don't really suggest that. Nicky saying, when do we play Bristol Rovers for the Cup? I don't know whether or not someone can look that up.
7th November.
Right, well done, thank you. Andy B saying I couldn't agree with you more in terms of the lineup selections. Marcus saying Azaka hasn't developed because of a lack of game time. We don't want that to happen to Roberts or Finn. No, absolutely, that's my point as well. And Grainbone saying difficult to see the white names on the screen, on the green screen, or is it just me?
No, it's me as well, mate. It's me as well, Graham.
Fair enough. And have you both haven't been having a bit of sherry tonight, have you? No, it is a bit cramped actually as well. Gavin and I did look at that when we were doing it, but ran out of time. So we will try and make the lineup on half a pitch and a bit more visual. So obviously the game is this Saturday. We just do this to put the officials on for those that want to know who's going to get shouted at the weekend. The referee, James Linnington, assisted by Ryan McKiverley and Marcus Carmichael, and the fourth official is Harrison Blair. So speaking of Peterborough's and sort of current form and stuff, so I did a quick bit of GPT research on this. We were going to have hope to have someone on from the Posh cast, but we couldn't all tie up on it. So in the end, but effectively, obviously, yes, they've had a poor league start, difficult opening to the season with 1 win, 1 draw, and 6 defeats in their first 8 matches, placing them rock bottom of the league. Goal scoring woes with only 6 goals scored in their league games. Peterborough's offence is amongst the weakest in the division, so they might try and attack, but they're not showing any promise in doing that, indicating a significant challenge obviously in front of goal. Defensive leakiness, there you go. They've conceded substantially more goals than they've scored. Well, clearly that's why they are where they are, resulting in a minus 9 goal difference, highlighting one of the league's weakest defensive records. So can we take advantage of that? I'm sure we will. And their recent bright spot, despite the struggles, a recent 2-1 victory against Wickham. Gavin, did you say that was in their first game or something?
Which one? Sorry, mate.
The Wickham win.
No, they won Saturday at Wickham.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, so literally recent. Thank you. Could serve as much needed morale booster and a potential turning point for them. And obviously, as we know, Shuttleworth was sacked from Wickham as a result of that. So, yeah, I mean, there's quite clearly chances if Argyle can turn it on. I don't expect a nervy start at home like Stockport. Or in the game where there's spells of nervousness. I think we'll be confident in going out there. And, not to be horrible, but with a team that's not having a great run and potentially not seeing where it's coming from. I listened to a few minutes of the Poshcast latest episode, and there's a lot of discontent in the ranks, like it was with us a few weeks ago, amongst the fan base. But yeah, I mean, Gavin, there is an opportunity, isn't there? I mean, we've had some strong sides in the opening start of this season, and no team is easy. But if there's a chance to really put a marker down, then Saturday's the game to do it, isn't it?
Yeah, we're at home. I think even if Posh were flying and there were sort of top 7, top 8, top 9, I think we'd still be expecting from the last few games to win. I said this before when we first got together in the lobby. This is probably the archetypal banana skin. Everyone rocks up thinking we're going to absolutely wallop them 3 or 4-0. They've got their first win on Saturday. Ferguson's no mug. As a manager, they've got a lot more experience back in their 11, as Clev's obviously alluded to in the press conference earlier. We're going to have to be on our game to win this. You expect us to, because I think, again, classic sort of punditry, but first goal is going to be key.
Yeah.
Because they've been used to losing. They've conceded -9, we've conceded -6. That first goal, when we get our heads up, especially at home, we're very difficult to beat. If we go 1-0 down, they might have a bit of belief, and all of a sudden we're back to the old demon.
Yeah.
As my old friend comes back, and you're like, oh, we've got to try and dig ourselves out of this one. So I think first goal's key. We've got a good enough starting 11, I think, to trouble them. They're starting to gel. The game system and the patterns of play now seem to be coming together. We've got a very good defence with that back 3. And 2 guys in front of them in the midfield that are playing at the skin. So you'd expect us to not concede too many, he says, touch wood, but we've conceded 4 in the last 2. I don't know how. 2 of them were quite dodgy penalties, in my opinion.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think you'd be expecting to be quietly confident for a win, but I wouldn't say we're going to rock up and hammer them 3, 4, 5-0 by any stretch.
No, I mean, I was just looking at the coach win percentage chart on FOTMob, and Ferguson is who came in during the 22-23 season is certainly on a downward spiral over the last since joining, really. It's not good, and there's pressure on him, as you would expect. So yeah, I mean, Andy, look, it could be one of those funny old games, but I just my gut instinct says that we will do well and it will be a confident result. So, I might have egg on my face come Saturday evening show, but I do feel fairly confident on this one.
I think them getting that first win as well is going to give them a boost, isn't it? Especially in the manner they did it. You can look at the scorers this season. It's like Kean Hayes and Jimmy Morgan. They got 2 each, haven't they? And there's been a couple of goals elsewhere. But
yeah,
those are the players we're going to watch out for. I mean, they're going to come down and they're not going to have any pressure on them. The pressure is going to be on us, I think, because everyone's expecting us to win. On paper, we probably could win this game, but nothing's taken for granted in this league, is it? And anyone could be anyone. Peterborough will just be up for it as well as we are. So we just got to be on our guard and on our mettle. Get the first goal. It might be a different game. If they get the first goal, we'll have to see how we respond to that, don't we?
Yeah, and there's a chance to get into the top half of the table, depending, of course, on other results. Marcus saying 4-1 to Argyle. Positive vibes, please, Gavin. Well, I actually got my prediction for our pod prediction. Well, I put it in, but no one gets a choice, really. I do it in the prep. So got that coming up. Key players and squad updates that you put together there, Gavin. So do you want to spin through that?
Yeah, it's the spine in it at the top. Key players: Ibrahim, Boateng, Talai. You could probably put that in. Get your hammer and chisel out and put that in as the tablet for the rest of the season on that slide.
Yeah, I think so.
3, 2 very good midfielders who've both got goals in recent times, who have played out their skin, and Talai's probably the best 9 in the league without being too melodramatic about it. All round 9 anyway. I don't see us getting past that. We're sort of running out of superlatives for Talai, and it's only 9 games in, which is quite something. And he didn't play for the handful at first. So I think come Christmas and January, if he's bagged a dozen or so and a number of assists. We're going to have to go and look at the thesaurus, if I can get my teeth back in, to find some new words to describe the guy. Ibrahim, as I said there, 3 in 2 games, 2 back-to-back man of the match performances, playing with a lot more maturity, not diving in, not doing any stupid cynical fouls, calmed down, I think, in his mentality, playing really well. And Boateng's player of the year for me so far, and has been a consistent 7.5 to 8 out of 10 every game.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And we've done the squad updates earlier. So, yeah, I have gone with a 3-0 prediction. So let's see how that one pans out. I'm not necessarily known for getting my results right. But yeah, looking forward to that one. And also, if it is, as Steve put in our WhatsApp group earlier, if we do get a win and 3 back-to-back wins, that's the first time since Shuey when we were last in League One. So there's a little stat for you there. Before we just move on to that, I'll just come through and just have a look at some more of the comments. Mark is just putting in there, the 4 players we have been linked to Hamadi, Taylor and Burrell. I think Talai is the best of the lot. Although, yeah, of course, as that Luton fan said on Saturday in here, if we'd have had Al Mohammadi back fit, we wouldn't have had a chance on Saturday, because it's not like, as we said then, they're spoilt for strikers or anything. Stephen Cooper saying 3-0 informed Greens, got to be a no-brainer. Come on. We have a few easier games coming up, Mark, as I said as well, and the easiest is on the 23rd of October. No game is easy, but it's certainly a better run. That's for sure. Add Cole, don't want to jinx it, but if we win, it will be the first time in a long while 3 in a row. Yeah, as I alluded to, it was under Shuey in the last time in League One. So, again, evening, folks. For those that have joined us throughout the show tonight, it's a nice, calm and relaxed. I'm normally quite hypo at most times, but I'm quite relaxed tonight. So Gavin's thrown a few slides together on some financial bits and pieces. So Gavin, tell us what you're going to take us through and the fans now.
It's just last Thursday, actually.
After the forum.
Chris Errington, after the forum, I think Chris Errington referenced it. I think it was out in Plymouth Live that day around the regulatory review that had been published by the EFL and the Premier League around fair game index study of essentially how things or how clubs are going to be measured against the index moving forward. I think we were rated silver. I didn't really know what it was. I knew it was sort of rough criteria, it's financials and some other non-financial benchmarks. But I thought I'd try and get a bit of a deep dive on it and see what it's all about. Because, let's be candid, it looks good, doesn't it? We're silver. Well, and who quite frankly cares? So, yeah, it was just a bit of a slide through that one just to, send everyone off to bed, really, with a nice bit of sleep to come. And look through the nuts and bolts of it, really. Next slide.
Yep. Right, I was just playing around with the layout a bit there. Right, yeah, go on in. So what are the benchmarks in layman's terms?
So there's from what I understand and what I've read, there's 8 core areas, 2 in financial stability, 2 in governance and transparency, 2 in fan engagement, and then there's the sort of softer skills of ethics, diversity, environment and community, one that I know that Voodoo should probably come to the club and champion with his DEI background. Waiting for the comments. So that's the key areas of that's the key areas of measurement, and you get scored on each one, and then essentially from later this year, each club's going to be benchmarked on this, a bit like the FFP financial fair play rules, but it's going to be a bit like a balanced scorecard for those that know them. You've probably got a balanced scorecard, I imagine, have you, at the range? So just to measure holistic, basically targeting and performance and behaviour, really. So that's
Funny
kind
enough,
of.
that's what I've been trying to analyse this week on task compliance.
Oh, is it? Okay, there you go. Voodoo's come back with no comment.
I was laughing at his other one as well. The only pod's a name check thesaurus.
Yeah, that's right. Nothing wrong with that. We're the thinking man's pod here. Don't worry. You can go next slide. Oh, sorry, no, at the bottom. Sorry. So, everyone's measured gold, silver, bronze for this early piece, and Argyle is silver. So you can flick the next one.
2-0 to Barstow as Graham's given us a score update for those that are interested. Rashford with both goals. So, when does this new regulation come into effect?
2020, well, before the end of 2025. There you go. I'll answer your question. It'll be introduced licensed systems, owners and directors and senior executives, financial controls, improved accountability to fans. I think that's where it is. It's like, we're really lucky, I think, because as much as we can be, it's a bit of a cling film wall that seems to sort of be operated behind. Everything seems to be pretty open and out in the, but you go to the other end of the extreme. In recent times, Swindon, Sheffield Wednesday, there's Reading, number of clubs that have been probably not as well run and not as visibly communicating with the fan base, I suppose is probably fair to say. So the Fair Game Index will act as a shadow audit where it's going to release its data that basically you can, as a fan, see how well your club's doing from this holistic kind of measurement, really. That's it.
Yeah, and then just a Jana with any more news on Parky packing his bags. He was seen, actually, interesting you picked that up, just a Jana. He was at the game in the director's box on Saturday, so it could just be a false rumour. We don't know, and we have, so literally there's nothing more to say on that one. But point 3 then, how well has Plymouth Argyle been rated? So you've already said, obviously, a silver award then, Gav.
So silver award, which means we're nearly there. Yeah, in layman's terms. We've shown good progress, to quote the report, to being regulatory ready. Our strengths, strong financial practices, relatively. We've lost bugger all money, really, considering our balance sheet's still the right way around. And we're probably top 5% of announcing their financial results from the previous year in terms of timing.
Yeah.
As you very well know, I think the only debt that's sitting in the club is shareholder debt, which is deemed soft debt anyway. And one thing I had to laugh at was reading Twitter this week. A couple of the bedwetting fraternity had an absolute meltdown because Simon Hallett had lent the club 2.8 million, I think it was, on the balance sheet, and had the bloody nerve to charge 2% interest on the money, right? Losing their shit over that. Well, I've lent my company's money in the past and I've put it in at 5 or Bank of England rate. That's a standard thing that you do because that's what you do as a director when you lend money. The interesting thing was that in America,
you can say
lend money to an organisation that yours without showing interest, and the minimum interest you can charge 2%, which is what he has done. I think he's rolling up the interest as well until the capital's paid down, so there won't be any cash leaving Argyle on a monthly basis, but it'll just be rolled up. But that did make me giggle a lot.
Yeah.
Who else would put 2.3 or 2.8 million of their hard-earned into someone else's pocket and not gain interest? I mean, he should have charged 5%, because if you'd stuck it in the bank, any bank in the Bank of England, you'd got 3, 4, 5% on a high interest account anyway. But there we go. Simon, well done again for showing great financial acumen. Fan engagement and transparency is doing well. I think that's obvious from what we've seen. And there was another report I think I read on Twitter earlier from a Herald report actually that again was very good. The one that you mentioned earlier actually,
yeah,
was fantastic. 8% is more common. Thank you for that, Voodoo. The man who doesn't work in finance has told me that 8% is more common. That's fantastic. Well done, Voodoo. Keep buying those nice bottles of Bordeaux for dinner. Oh, and actually, let me know how that Bordeaux and the steak was, because I was salivating looking at that bottle last week. It was a proper drop. That was a proper drop. A nice, very Smith Meddock. Environmental efforts also praised. So I know that Christian has spent a lot of time building. We've got our own rainwater supply now to water the pitch. We've got a grandstand covered in solar panels. We've got movement lights. I know, because if you're ever at the end of the day in hospitality and you're having a piss and you don't move, the lights go out, so you're peeing in the dark. So they've got all that good stuff going on, which is great. So the weak spots they've identified: governance, board independence, transparency metrics. So reserves depth, which in terms of cash is probably fair over the last 12 months. Before that, I think we were very good. Possible other value areas like ethics, diversity, which the club may struggle with. Well, without being rude, it's quite hard to show diversity and equity in Plymouth. If we were sat in the middle of the Midlands somewhere, I'd probably say we'd have far more of that. But just geographically, we don't really have much. So there's nothing they can do there. But all in all, reading the summary of the report, we are in good health, and we are not far away from hitting the gold standard, which is probably not what anyone was expecting, really. But I think it's good to see that the auditors are echoing what the guys in this instance on this metrics are.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And of course, some of the fan base, Gavin, want us to just throw everything at it and take massive risks and sod it to the consequences. So it'll be certainly interesting what other clubs are rated like, when this comes out. And I don't think you'll see that many that are up in that top section getting their gold, silver or bronze awards. And I'm absolutely sure, Voodoo, that Gav will DM you regarding that bottle of Bordeaux. And you'll, of course, have to share it on the pod one evening.
I'll happily extend that. It's a loving now, isn't it? That when you come to Home Park next, you can come and join me in Diamond if you like, Voodoo. Be more than happy to have you. We can while the hours away and talk politics.
Not like you like to get involved in that, Gavin. So, point 4 then, how much work will Argyle need to do to become best in class?
So it was like, what do we need to do to become like top of the class, really? So increase our cash reserves, which obviously I don't think is going to happen anytime soon. I don't think we're going to make a surplus or a profit this year from certainly the financial presentation that we've done last Thursday. We certainly won't be having the shareholders putting any more cash in and then flicking it to equity. So that's out. So I think if anything, we will probably go backwards in that measurement, which is fine. But we're still, going to be probably much better than most of our peers. Robust governance, so improved board independence, transparency, and clear reporting mechanics for senior decisions. I think the board is going to have to strengthen, and I think it probably will do in the next few weeks, a month. So I don't think that's an issue. So that'll be a bit of a tear it up and start again. Core values, expand measurable commitments across values categories, including environment, ethics, and diversity. We're nearly there on that. I'd say we're 9/10. So I think that's probably where we're leading the way from a lot of EFL clubs. Enhanced fan engagement. I don't think, other than the executive communicating maybe via video or via whatever on a regular basis, written or regular basis, the CEO or someone of that ilk communicating with the fan base, I don't think we can do much more. Our regular town halls, I think, are brilliant, and the last one was very good indeed. I've watched it back now, so that was great. So I think the fan engagement's pretty good. The fan experience on match day is also very good as well, and that's obviously got better and better with the concourse at Lyndhurst, etc., the last few weeks. And then the sustainable financials. Our wage percentage is very good compared to a lot of our peers. We're not at the maximum threshold this year, I don't believe, 60%. So I think we're about mid-40s off that presentation from last week off memory. So we're doing well there, and I think as long as we grow our revenue base and maintain that, then I think we'll be fine.
Yeah, no, cool. And then why this matters to us as a fan's perspective?
So I just kind of like, this slide was like in my head, who cares and why? So what's the crack? Why are they doing or making all this nonsense up? Well, I don't think this particular review and the gold, silver, bronze standard was particularly aimed at clubs like us, because I think by default we're doing a lot of the good work that others aren't. A couple, Reading and Sheffield Wednesday are a couple that I've mentioned earlier that probably aren't doing as much of this stuff. I don't think Chancery speaks to his fan base unless it's to slag him off. And I know that the man at Reading for some time was just trying to carve it up and private equity style carve up and move on. So, but in terms for us, why does it matter? Well, long-term stability. We've got that. We've had that since Simon's at the helm. He's very responsible as a financier that he is, as an investor, that we've got no soft debt. We're not leveraged at all. We own the assets. Everything we're doing is shareholder driven. So from that perspective, we're fine. And we've got that local community footprint as well in Folkestone Park when it is live. Fairness and trust. Well, if we're accountable, if they're open and accountable, which they are, then supporters feel involved. I think that could be better, but I don't think it's by any stretch bad. I think if you're reaching for excellence, to say you could probably have a bit more video communication from the exec of just what's going on and how things are going and just that general touch point. But I think the communication of the club and the openness and transparency is very, very good. If you're loyal, you get better financial returns. That's obvious. I think one of the things they're struggling with at the minute is a lot of the clay layer sponsorship and partners from last year have decided not to renew this year. And I think that's one of their big challenges, is winning back that trust. I had a conversation with someone earlier. In order to be able to maximise revenue, I think it was like 2 or 3 million quid commercial revenue last year. They're going to struggle to keep that up this year. Just noting in Club Argyle that last year there was 4, 5, sometimes 6 match day sponsors. We were joking at one stage, it was like, oh, and the sponsor of Joe Edwards' left shoelaces, and up they come and shake hands, get that sort of photograph done with the man of the match. This year, some games we've only had 2 sponsors. We haven't had 3. We've had a match sponsor and a shirt sponsor. Normally there's 4: match, shirt, ball, and programme for every game. That's not happening this year. So clearly there's a disenfranchisement of some of those sponsors, and they've walked away. I don't think that's down to relegation. I think that's down to the way they've been managed, but that's a small p political thing. But I think they need to do better there. Protecting the identity and soul of the club, I don't think that's in question either. I think they've done really well, and performance isn't everything. If the results aren't on the pitch doing very well, basically tough. We've done everything else right, and I think the last few weeks, although some of the people that are funding my Unilever stock didn't quite believe that too much, it's true. That all the fundamentals of the club are there, and that's what's going to see us through. And if we get to the top 6 by the end of the season, and we'll have our day out at Wembley, and hopefully win this time instead of getting walloped 4-0 and wanting to go and drink yourself silly in the West End as I did last time, we'll be saying, well, what a great season, and that Bobby Ewing moment where everyone comes out the shower come Christmas and it was all a dream that we were crap for August and September, will be a distant memory, and we'll all move on. So it's not much to see in this in terms of the sort of nitty gritty, if you like, but the overriding message is we're nearly top of the class here, and I don't think it will take us much to get to that gold standard. So from an Argyle fan perspective, there isn't really much to worry about when this comes into fruition later this year.
No, and I think, as Paul stressed in that presentation last week, naturally, yes, the fans' contribution, it all helps, the sponsorships, it all helps. And I think it is a difficult one. Yeah, you've obviously discussed with me some of the things that you've picked up on, Gav, with the hospitality side. And I think when it's, as with any business, when it goes through a number of changes and a bad spell, patch as a result of that, things do get disruptive. People look at each other to blame each other for things. People not taking responsibility, at times as well for the decisions and the actions that have happened. But so you start to, hopefully now we're seeing things settle a little bit, regardless of whatever happens with Andy's situation and those rumours. You can see things starting to sort of get back on their feet again. And you've got to be able to accept the criticism, listen to your fans, listen to your corporate sponsors, and go away and implement some of those changes. The worst thing you can do is bury your head and not listen to things. Listen to the flow of the river within your business. And find out where the noise is coming from. Don't just sit at the top table and expect to get all the answers there. So
feedback is a blessing, Michael. Feedback is a blessing.
Yes, absolutely. Gavin is, and Simon, if you're watching after your radio interview earlier, Gavin is there at the end of the phone and more than happy to come in, and he's probably sent you about 300 emails, so you just need to read them.
199, mate. The last one's in my outbox.
That's it. So beyond the pitch, your voice matters. So unsung strengths, which of Argyle's current strengths, perhaps those highlighted in the report, do you feel are most underappreciated by the wider fan base? Andy, I'll go to you on that, having obviously digested all that from Gavin. But where do you think they're underappreciated with the wider fan base?
I just think the whole area of our finances. People are expecting us to spend millions upon millions on players, and I think Simon's got it right. And Marcus is going to hate me, to get the infrastructure in place. Gavin mentioned it way back about the long-term, short-term investment, long-term gains and stuff like that. And that's the way the club is going to be run, and has to be run for me, because you can't sort of chuck money at it. You just can't do that, because you're going to get a Sheffield Wednesday situation. You're going to get, debts and administration. Maybe, we don't know, but yeah. So I think the way we're sort of handling our financial affairs is one of our unsung strengths, really.
Yeah, I think from my view on that one is that really, and I sort of tie it back to Simon being obviously a fan of Plymouth Argyle and his heart truly there, and having that opportunity to have the money off successful career, not just a few million quid, he's worth a few quid, and to be able to come in there and buy your club when it was going through a tough phase, with David Brent getting us into some sort of stable situation and barely keeping the doors open. He's then gone in and set out a plan and delivered on that, and none of us, I've said it before recently, we're not about being happy clapping, we're just being realistic with everything. But at the end of the day, it's not easy running a business, and it's certainly even tougher when you're in the public eye like a football club. I think we're incredibly lucky. So I think when things calm down, people do tend to appreciate it. I get why people get themselves riled, but some of the accusations and some of the comments, it's so easy, isn't it, when you're sat behind that screen and keyboard or that mobile phone and touting your views. Priority for improvement, if you had the power, Gavin, to implement one change, and that's not getting in there and sorting hospitality out, what would you prioritise for the immediate improvement within the club's operations? Well, and this is around fan engagement, it's saying, but I think your points and what you've said to me on the hospitality side, it's a lot of money there that you and others invest in, and so a bit of an improvement there, I'm guessing, is what you would suggest.
I think they're leaving 200 to 300 grand on the table every year in margin, is my guess, from what I've observed over 4 seasons. I think now this is my 4th season in Diamond. It's getting better year on year, but it's still, I think there's still some basic systems and processes that would improve it. I think the biggest thing for me, putting myself in Andy P's shoes, is I would be far more forward facing with the fan base in general. He does very little MBWA, for those who don't work in management consultancy, but management by wandering around, basically getting yourself in trouble and having conversations with people that don't normally speak to you. I think there needs to be a lot more of that, so you're then seen. So, I don't think I've ever seen Andy or any of the exec out in the Mayflower, out in the the fans forum behind the Mayflower pre-game, but that wouldn't take much to go and do and have a pint and talk to the fans about what's going on and say hello. Occasionally they'll walk through Diamond or Platinum and say hello to people, but it's rare. Simon's probably the last of the exec to go and sit or stand in an away end, which was that fateful day, Mike, when we went to Bristol City and left a little bit early because we were 4-0 down at half time. Oh, no, not half time, wasn't it? 4-0 down by the end of the game. So he was probably the last person in the club to stick a scarf on and go and stand in an away end and experience that. So I think for me, that's the big key driver is be more visual to the fan base and probably a little bit more visual day to day with the sort of exec leadership and moving the business forward with some tactileness, I suppose, so like pressing flesh, speaking to people, not, as you probably said earlier, something about the rhythm of the river or whatever it is.
I think it was Archie Norman, potentially that one. So, yeah, listen to the flow of the river and your management walk around. There's nothing better. I mean, I'm not sort of in a serious controlling position, but one of the things I've always done over my 20 years at the range is I've always stayed in touch with a lot of departments. And when I get the chance, I walk around and see what's happening with people that, used to work with me and have gone on and grown their careers as well. And I just love to be nosy. I want to know what's going on around the business because that's just the way I am. But I think it's a very important way to understand then where you might have issues, because people will stop and go, oh, do you know what? Why are we doing this? And get fed up with that. And what's your thoughts on it? And sometimes they just want that sounding board, but from that you can take so much away. And at times when you think it's tough, you can see the good things that are going on, and it's good to sort of shout about where good is happening as well within your business.
Your customers have all the answers, you don't.
They'll
tell you the problems. You might have solutions in your head because that's why you get to the top of the organisation. I really am going into work mode now, but in practice, by going and talking to your customer, which is the fan base, on a match day, home and away, talking to them via video or coming on podcasts or whatever, you'll get into their psyche far quicker. They'll see you as not this person sat in the ivory tower who's making decisions and hiding behind the Herald or whoever they chose to speak to, and you'll really get some understanding of what the business does and how it does it. And I think it's your senior management team. I know this for a fact because I've talked to senior management team of got days gone by and said, you've got a problem here, guys, as a sponsor, to tell you, you've got a problem here. And that problem's never got to the exec. I know for a fact because I've asked them and they've said, no, don't know anything about it. Because they don't want to seem stupid or they don't want to seem that they're inefficient in their job or whatever. So by skipping that layer out, that when I used to run hotels, I used to go in via the housekeeping door and speak to the housekeepers first because they knew everything what was going on.
Yeah, exactly.
And I think there's not much of that from what I can see and the evidence I've seen and the people in the club that I speak to. One of them who's left recently said, he spoke to Andy in his first week and spoke to Andy his last week when Andy tried to relinquish his resignation. So, you've got to be seen to be doing a bit more. I think you've got to be a bit more open with your customer base and your staff. And if you do that, then you're going to get more solutions to problems than if you don't.
Yeah, absolutely, and sort of recent examples. I suppose you got Stuart Machin at M&S. He has his straight to Stuart thing that he does. I've seen and heard other people before go, my door's always open, but if I walk in it and you don't listen, it's no use in it being open either, is it? So you've got to, you definitely got to get in and around. I mean, Voodoo saying, do you think Parkinson would do that if he was actually an Argyle fan? You're there if you're responsible for running that business, and so it's your responsibility to know as much as you can possibly.
It's your job, isn't it? It doesn't matter whether you're a fan or not. You should want to go and talk to your customers to see what they're thinking, how they're thinking. But I think because it's such an emotional sport and such an emotional business to run, if you haven't got rhino skin, you aren't sticking your head above the parapet on match day, especially if you've been walloped 3-0 on the Saturday, because suddenly all the tactical problems in the club are the CEO's fault for recruiting the wrong manager. So I can see the flip side of it, but I think you've got to ride past that, have those soft skills to be able to brush that off and say, tell me more. Because I think a lot of the bedwetters, if you actually stood in front of them with a beer and said, "Okay, talk about that. What do you think the solution should be?" They're a little bit quiet, and you go, "Okay, well, thanks for bringing it up. I'll go and have a think about it." But there will be some people there that'll go, "Actually, I think you should do this." And we get these type of comments. Steve Cooper said something about cashless earlier. We get this type of comments all the time, and we're just fans. So I do honestly believe that I think that's the one thing operationally that the business could do better. It's just use two of these and not one of them.
Yeah, and just going back to Stephen Cooper's point on cash, you may know or not. I know, Steve, as a taxi driver, you may still handle a lot of cash, but it's there's money handling charges and everything there, and at the end of the day, the world has changed, and it is just a case of do it with your watch, your phone, your card. You're tapping to pay these days. Of course, there's bank charge fees for that, but you're not having to then do all that juggling around a cash. So I don't personally have an issue with people not taking cash. And obviously, I think you noted, Steve, about the vans outside the ground. But there's also other reasons why those might take cash. I'm sure the VAT man doesn't see the total earnings that are made on that day. All I know is that
Allegedly.
Yeah, allegedly. Sorry. Yes, sorry. I was going to mention someone specifically, but I'm not going to now after that. Nikki saying, we had Simon Hallett chatting to my son in the Argyle shop, took time out to speak to him. He made his birthday and got him a position in the Guard of Honour for the opening game of the season. And that's just following on from, just a Jana's comment just before that, saying Hallett walking around at the celebrity match and no one approached him for chats or photos. It was all for Nance. Laughing out loud. Where's the comment gone? There we go. The youth don't know who Hallett is until we pointed him out. And that's the thing. But also, Simon's not there in game day on the pitch. That brilliant dugout camera footage on Saturday at the end, with the celebrations. That because Nance understands a commitment that Simon's put in to get the club back on its feet, and he's witnessed that, to trying to build these squads with new managers and knowing deep down that the quality is there and the potential is there, and all that came out on that, getting those vital 3 points on Saturday. And I think that's why, because people see him, so the kids are naturally going to go to him. But the fact that Simon is approachable and more than happy to stop and have a chat, as what happened in Nicky's case, and he got a son in the Guard of Honour. So, he does say he's chairman at pafc.co.uk. Clearly, he's either blocked Gavin's email address or it's gone into the nuisance folder, thanks to his AI. But yeah, so the final point, because we are coming towards the end of the show, folks, in case you were wondering. So regulatory impact. Do you believe being regulator ready will ultimately influence key decisions like transfer spending or day-to-day running of our club? I think, Andy, obviously, if you've got a well-run business, you can take more risks. You can take views on things and say, well, we've got the capital to be able to do that. So I think ticking all these boxes and just being a better run football club, of course, is going to help with the influence on some of those decisions, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, you're going to have teams working together in there, aren't you? You're going to have teams who want to put bums on seats. You're going to have teams who want to put food in bellies and beer in bellies and stuff like that. And you're going to have, obviously, the playing staff and the management staff on the pitch as well who are going to work as a team. So all that contributes to Plymouth Argyle Football Club. And whether you're sort of putting money into the infrastructure for the long-term future of the club, or whether you're sort of putting the ball in the back of the net for the winning goal, then you're still working for the good goal of Plymouth Argyle, aren't you?
Yeah, you do. And Stephen, yes, we do still take cash. Yes, obviously we got thousands of customers coming through the doors. Not enough. We could always do with more. So folks, get out there and spend your money. Christmas is getting put out as we speak. And if you go into Derriford, there's these huge nutcrackers, and they had them last season. They had a couple, and now there's about half a dozen. And I must admit, they are impressive. But yeah, Graham Burns say not taking cash on the first day of last season meant Argyle earned nothing. They gave it all away. What's he referring to on that?
Yeah, it was pasties, wasn't it?
The PDQ machines went down.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I remember now.
So
wasn't that just in the away end though?
No, it was
all around the ground.
Oh, because I think I was with you on that day, Gavin, wasn't I? So that's we did hear. I
couldn't do the way with the pasties away and stuff like that. Pies.
Very, very short on that. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah. But at least they didn't waste the food, which is inevitably what could have happened.
When it come up, it was like, "Oh, I'll have a Coke, please." We got no. It's free. Oh, a Coke, a bottle of Dom Perignon,
bottle of whiskey.
Yeah,
And that Bordeaux.
Yeah, oh yeah. So I know it was a bit of a free fall, but yeah, they got rid of the stock.
I wouldn't have been. I know it's end of season, but I would have stood firm on fresh food. Yeah, perishable. Yeah, but I wouldn't have given away drinks.
It was first game of the season.
I think it was. I think they had because they.
Oh, sorry, first day of
They were
last
giving
season.
away beers and stuff like that.
Yeah, I read it out
Going to
wrong.
the concourse and getting free beer because they couldn't pay for it.
And obviously, they brought the stock in. I'm pretty sure that was insured. Pretty sure.
Yeah, so sorry, I misread that. It was the first day of last season, Graham. Sorry, my mistake. Voodoo saying 3-2 on Saturday. Come on, you Greens. And Nicky saying yes, everything was free in the ground. So adding further to be on the pitch. And before I do, thank you, Gavin, as well for pulling those slides together. So we do like to, as we say, try and bring you a little bit of a different angle on things where we can, with the skills where we can, and the knowledge where we can. So and also soon, as we've said in every pod recently, when those financials come out, those year-end figures, we shall get and drag Ninja Matt from out of the chat and into the show to give us the chartered accountants breakdown of those figures. So a final thing on Beyond the Pitch, I thought I'd add in a bit of a sort of things that you didn't know. So the railway rivals connection. This is about Argyle and Peterborough. So Peterborough's Western Home Stadium famously sits right next to the East Coast Main Line, offering fans a unique view of trains flying past. Meanwhile, Argyle's home park was notably used during World War II as a temporary railway siding when bomb damage rerouted trains. So when Argyle play Posh, it's truly a battle of the railway link grounds. There goes a random one. And also the Posh versus the costly travel. Peterborough nicknamed the Posh allegedly from a manager's desire for luxurious accommodation and travel for his players. Argyle, however, are renowned for some of the longest and most expensive away trips in English football. This makes their clashes a fitting encounter between the Posh and the costly travel. You've got to love this AI stuff. I'll do one of those at the end of each show to give something a little bit random and different to end on. Just the Jana saying, it's why I don't get a beer at the ground, too expensive, and it's all pre-poured and aerated. Yeah, I get that to a degree. I'm not a big beer drinker. I'm more of a cider fan. I'm not a big drinker generally, but I wouldn't mind a bottle of Bordeaux, though.
Park Social Club is the only place to go for beer before the game.
But it's just I mean, at the end of the day, they are going to make some money out of it. I think I desperately I was in need of a Red Bull on Saturday, and I paid I think it was £3.20 or whatever it was for one in the ground, and I was like, oh, I won't tell the missus that. Hopefully she's gone to sleep. Yeah, she's gone to sleep. She won't be watching. Stephen Cooper saying Chris Dawson loves cash anyway. Thanks, guys. He did on his old market stalls, absolutely. And thanks for watching in tonight, Steve. And everybody else that's joined us, please make sure you spread the word. Please like, follow, subscribe, press that bell on YouTube and all that jazz. I have started to pit a few more clips on the YouTube shorts and stuff like that. I did Gavin's piece on the defensive masterclass, and I also earlier on today did a little clip from my introduction to the show, reading out the comments, so we can just tell people or show people a bit more about what goes on these lives. Graham Byrne, who remembers the railway line going under Union Street? Not many, I bet. I think Andy's the only oldest one here that might remember that.
Marcus might do that. I can't remember that.
So there's an interesting one, see. But yeah, other than that, folks, we're obviously back live Saturday at 8:30 after Peterborough. So fingers crossed my predictions come right and I don't have egg on my face. But it'll be great to get another 3 points finally and hopefully jump Exeter and maybe get into that second half or that top half of the table. Any final comments from you, Gavin? Final thoughts?
Well, let's bring it on Saturday. Let's get on it. Let's get another 3 points.
Yeah, as simple as that. And you, Andy?
Yeah, I'm looking forward to Saturday now. I think we're going to win 2-0. It's going to be a tight match, I think, but we're going to come out on top.
Yeah, I think so. Very much looking forward to it too. Thank you, everybody, again for joining us tonight, and we shall then catch you on Saturday.